পিতা কুলে কি করিবে তার, পিতা কুলে কি করিবে তার। অহংকারে মত্ত হইয়া নিতাই পদ পাশরিয়া, অহংকারে মত্ত হইয়া নিতাই পদ পাশরিয়া, অসত্যেরে সত্য করি
Haribol.
Hare Krishna, dear devotees. Dandavat pranam. Hare Krishna, dear devotees. Dandavat pranam. Please accept my humble obeisances. All glories to Srila Prabhupada and all glories to Srila Gurudev. I hope you're keeping well and I hope that you're all in good health. It is my humble honor to welcome each and every one of you to BDDSwami Sanga's 7th Global Online Events 2nd session. Thank you for being here. Thank you for being here with us today. For those of you who had been here with us yesterday, you're most welcome once again, and a very, very warm welcome to all of those who have joined us today. This time round, we are celebrating the forthcoming appearance of our original Guru, Lord Nityānanda, and I am very happy to be here with all of you as we receive a lot of nectar from senior devotees, as well as have the chance to hear of the pastimes of Lord Nityānanda. Just before we begin today's session, I would like to extend a warm welcome to Srila Gurudev. Hare Krishna, dear Gurudev, please accept my humble obeisances. And thank you very much for being here with us today.
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. Thank you very much, Maharaj. And on that note, I would like to invite His Grace, Chaitanya Bhagavat Das from Ghana, to offer a garland to His Holiness, Bhakti Dhira Damodara Swami.
Hare Krishna, Srila Gurudev, please accept this garland from Shri Radha Gopinath.
Wow. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna, Maharaj.
Where is that coming from?
From Shri Radha Gopinath, Kumasi.
Wonderful. Thank you very much, Chaitanya Bhagavat Das. And with that, Srila Gurudev, I would like to seek for your permission and your blessings to begin today's session.
Hare Krishna, please go ahead.
Thank you very much, Srila Gurudev. Thank you very much. And now, dear devotees, this is to let all of you know that we have language interpretation in both Hindi and Portuguese languages. Therefore, kindly take a minute and pay keen attention to this self-explanatory video, which will guide you to your respective interpretation channels.
Hare Krishna, queridos devotos, reverências, todas as glórias a Srila Prabhupada. Hoje teremos interpretação simultânea para a língua portuguesa. Se você desejar ouvir em português e estiver no computador, clique no ícone do globo no canto inferior direito da sua tela. Em seguida, selecione o idioma português. Para os usuários de celular, clique no ícone mais, depois no ícone do globo e em seguida escolha o canal de português. Muito obrigada. Hare Krishna.
हरे कृष्णा। आज हिंदी भाषा में अनुवाद की सुविधा उपलब्ध है। अपने कंप्यूटर पर हिंदी इंटरप्रिटेशन चैनल तक पहुंचने के लिए कृपया अपनी स्क्रीन के निचले दाएं कोने में ग्लोब आइकन पर क्लिक करें। इसके बाद हिंदी चैनल पर क्लिक करें। मोबाइल उपयोगकर्ताओं के लिए अधिक आइकन पर क्लिक करें, फिर भाषा व्याख्या के लिए ग्लोब आइकन पर और हिंदी चैनल का चयन करें। आपको धन्यवाद। हरे कृष्णा।
Wonderful. Thank you very much. And dear all, please also note that there will be a pop-up which may appear on your screens and may request you to accept the panelists portal. Therefore, kindly do accept to go into the panelists mode. Therefore, it will make it much easier and allow you to actively participate in this webinar. And now it is the right time for us to break into our respective language preferences. Therefore, you may kindly proceed to your preferred language interpretation channel. And just before I call upon our first speaker for the day to share some wonderful nectar with us, I would like us to take a look at today's schedule. Today's schedule is as follows. We will have some lovely nectar by His Holiness Kavi-Chandra Maharaj, who will be speaking on the pastimes of Lord Nityānanda, followed by a special quiz. And thereafter, we will have some wonderful nectar shared with us once again by His Grace Srivas Vanachari Prabhu, who will be speaking on the pastimes of Lord Nityānanda as well. And finally, before we end today's session, there will be some lovely drama and beautiful bhajans for the evening. Dear devotees, please note that in case of any questions or queries which you may be having, you could kindly drop them to Ask Your Servant, which is in the chat box on your screens at the bottom. And now finally, it is time for me to introduce and welcome our first speaker for the day, His Holiness Kavi-Chandra Maharaj, who will be speaking on the topic of the pastimes of Lord Nityānanda. His Holiness Kavi-Chandra Swami met the Hare Krishna devotees in 1967 and was initiated by Srila Prabhupada in 1971. He joined the temple in Tucson, Arizona, and since that time, he has served in the United States and around the world in various capacities, such as selling of Srila Prabhupada's books to libraries, universities, and individuals, including leading a book distribution called the Radha Damodara Sankirtan Party, preaching Krishna consciousness in Fiji, general manager for the Radha Rasa Bihari Temple in Juhu in India, as well as a temple president in Tokyo in Japan. In 1982, Kavi-Chandra Swami Maharaj took sannyas in Japan. In 1987, Maharaj became a GBC member for Japan. His GBC responsibilities expanded from Japan to places such as Thailand, Indonesia, Greece, and West Africa. He is also a committee member of the GBC Executive Committee, ISKCON Law Committee, and Revision Committee. Maharaj has a special interest in book distribution and Harinam Sankirtan, and he also writes about his faith in Srila Prabhupada on the topic of Harinam. He also invests time in devotee care by writing articles, participating in conferences, and vigorously encouraging others to put effort into making it a very priority. He is a traveling preacher and initiating spiritual master of many disciples in his GBC regions and beyond. And with that, I would now like to invite His Grace Chitraketu Putradas from Ghana to welcome His Holiness Kavi-Chandra Maharaj with a garland. I believe Chitraketu Putra Prabhu would be around to offer the garland to Maharaj.
Let's see if I can get it. Otherwise, I need charge. I think it'll last a half hour.
Do you have charger here?
It's in here. It's in here.
Right. So, sorry, I believe Jyoti Swarup Das will be able to offer the garland on behalf of Chitraketu Putra Prabhu to His Holiness Kavichandra Swami.
Cables.
Hare Krishna Maharaj, please accept my obeisances.
Oh, glories Prabhupada.
Please accept.
More garlands, huh?
Thank you very much, Jyoti Swarup Prabhu. And now, dear Maharaj, you're most welcome to share with us on the Madhya Leela pastimes of Lord Nityānanda. Hare Krishna.
Okay, now just a minute. I'm just having to plug in here for the internet. 831-9676. 9040. Okay, now I should say, you can charge it. Leave this. Okay. Haribol. Haribol.
Hare Krishna Maharaj.
Okay, am I all right? Unmuted and everything?
No, madam, we can hear you.
Okay, very good. Okay, so nice, so big crew there from international, huh? So, Om Jnana Timirandasya Gnana Shalakaya Chaksuramilitanyena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha Shri Chaitanya Manobhistam Stapitam Yena Bhutale Swayam Rupa Kadamayam Dadati Swapadantikam Nama Om Vishnu Padaya Krishna Pristaya Bhutale Shrimate Bhakti Vedanta Swaminiti Namane Namaste Saraswati Devi Gauravani Pracharane Nirvisesha Sunyavadi Paschatya Desa Tarane Vanchakalpa Trubhyascha Kripa Sindhu Vyapacha Patitanam Pavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namah Namo Mahabharanaya Krishna Prema Pradayate Krishnaya Krishna Chaitanya Namani Gora Tushe Namaha. Hey Krishna, Karuna Sindhu Dinabandhu Jagatpate, Gopesha Gopika Kanta Radha Kanta Namostate, Tapta Kanchana Gaurange Radhe Vrindavaneshwari, Vishabhanu Sute Devi, Pranamami Hare Priye. Mukam Karoti Vachalam Pangam Langayate Garim Tat Kripatamaham Bande Shri Gurun Dina Tarane. Bande Shri Krishna Chaitanya Nityānanda Sahodito Gododaya Pushpavanto Chitro Samdo Tamonudo. That Lord Chaitanya and Lord Nityānanda have appeared on the horizon, the eastern horizon, like the sun and the moon together, to dissipate the dense darkness of Kali Yuga. So we're way ahead of time for Nityānanda's appearance day, but if you see my picture there, that little temple behind me, that's Nityānanda's birthplace. Just happened on this iPad, that's the picture I have. That's from Ekachakra. So Nityānanda, when I was initiated, Prabhupada said Kavichandra was a great devotee of Nityānanda. So I don't know which one, because in the Chaitanya Charitamrita there's 3 Kavichandras. but I thought, that means Sankirtan. So we try to dedicate life. Nityānanda's life is very fascinating. He's Krishna, he's Balaram. So that's in the Chaitanya Charitamrita, the chapter that's, the glories of Nityānanda is mostly about him being Balaram and then Sankarshan and in all his expansions and creating all the universes in spiritual and material. So, but he appeared as a child, baby, and family of Brahmins in Ekachakra, which is called Radhadesh in Bengal, where the Ganga, it's far from the Ganga. It's about a 5-hour by bus now from Mayapur. And he was about 10 or 12 years older than Lord Nityānanda, than Lord Chaitanya. The title said that pastimes in the youth, of course, youth is, I guess, from what, 10 years old, or I don't know when youth starts. But his childhood is especially fascinating. As a very young boy, he organized all the boys, and his village is historically very famous place because that's where the Pandavas stayed 1 year before they went to get Draupadi. They stayed there and disguised as Brahmanas to hide out because they were, Trayodaśī wanted to kill them. But anyway, he made dramas and he organized very elaborate dramas with props and costumes and all Krishna Leela, all the avatars, all the different Leelas of Krishna, everything very spectacular. And there's a list of, all the different avatars that they did. And the men would ask, how do you know these Leelas? Because you never went to school. It was, before 10 years old. And he said, this is my Leela, of course I know. But they didn't connect that, that he's actually the incarnation of the Lord. But they knew everybody loved him. Just like everybody loved Lord Chaitanya, everybody loved Krishna, everyone in the whole village. And it wasn't exactly a village, and it was a big city, actually. Now it's a small village because when Janavimata, the wife of Lord Nityānanda, she went to Vrindavan on the way back, she stopped in this Ekachakra. And she was surprised, it's a small village. And they told her, after Nityānanda left, then most of the people moved away. The same thing happened in Navadvip. They couldn't tolerate, they would see all these places and remember him, and they couldn't tolerate him not being there anymore. And they moved away. Same thing, Navadvip, people moved out of Navadvip. And of course that helped to spread the holy name all over Bengal because they moved and practiced in other places. So he made all these dramas. The one that is noted the most was they were doing Ramayana, and he was Lakshman. He is Lakshman. Nityānanda is Balaram, Lakshman. And at one point in the Ramayana, Lakshman is apparently killed by son of Ravana, and so Nityānanda was such a great actor that everybody thought he died, and all the boys completely forgot the drama. They just panicked that Nityānanda died, and some men came along and they said, what's going on here? And they said, Nityānanda died. And he said, well, what drama were you doing? So he told him, he said, where's Hanuman? So the boy that was Hanuman came He said, Hanuman, did you go to the mountain and get the herbs? That's part of the drama. And he said, I forgot. They all forgot everything in panic that Nityānanda's acting. He convinced everybody he was dead. So he said, you go and finish the drama. So he went off for a while. He came back with, the mountain and brought Nityānanda back to life. But then one day, a very beautiful sannyasi came into the Ekachakra. So Nityānanda's father, being a great Brahmin, he hosted him in his house. And of course, he told him, this is your house, whatever you want, you can have. It's all yours. So he said, I'm traveling all the time and I don't have an assistant. I need a brahmachari assistant. And I want your son, Nityānanda. So when he heard that, it was like Dasarat thinking of, Ramachandra leaving. And he just panicked at the thought. But he's a Brahmana, consulted his wife. She said, you're a Brahmana, you gave your word, you have to keep it. You can't not keep your promise. So he agreed. And so the next morning, Nityānanda very happily, he wanted to get out anyway from household life, even though he was only 10 years old, 12 years old or something. And he's just humbly following the sannyasi. And the whole village was following and everybody was crying. They were saying, take my son, but don't take Nitai. Take all the boys, but don't take Nitai. They can't. And his father just, they got to the edge of the city and he just watched. He just stood there like stone statue and just watched until he couldn't see him anymore. And he was like frozen. And for a long time, I'm not sure if he just stood there, but he didn't eat, he didn't do anything. And everyone just couldn't imagine how he stayed alive. He was just so intensely feeling separation from Nitai. An intense love. So then Nityānanda traveled with this sannyasi for, I don't know how long he was exactly with that sannyasi, but he traveled. So this is his youth, you might say, because he started at like 10 years old. So he visited all the holy places in India. I don't know exactly the timing of his age, when he became an adult, but along the way somewhere he met, there's different short things. He heard in South India, the Shaivites and the Vaishnavas are always arguing, disagreeing with each other. And he just laughed when he heard them, didn't take it seriously. But when he heard the Buddhists, said he kicked him in the face, in atheistic philosophy. But somewhere along the line, he met Madhavendra Puri with his entourage. And that's like a very spectacular meeting in his life. It's very similar to Lord Chaitanya and Lord Nityānanda meeting much later on. But they embraced, they wept and cried, they fell unconscious on the ground. It went on for I don't know how long, maybe even more than one day. All the devotees that were around, they never seen such intense displays of Krishna prema, crying and falling unconscious, flooding the ground, muddy with tears, then coming dancing and ecstasy and chanting, and then falling unconscious again, embracing. So this is, the this intense Krishna prema. He is sometimes said that Madhavendra Puri is his spiritual master. It says he was actually initiated by Lakshmipati, who was another associate of Madhavendra Puri, Lakshmipati Tirtha. But Madhavendra Puri is his, definitely his Shiksha Guru. And then, so he traveled, and there's not a lot of description of so many other things. He ended up back in Vrindavan, and he stayed at a place now which is called Nityānanda Vat or Sringaravat, because it's a place where Krishna decorated Radharani's hair. It's right on the Prikama road there in Vrindavan, a little bit back off the road, and there's a temple. That's where he stayed. And he lived with the cowherd, then it was a forest. Everybody in Vrindavan was in ecstasy to see him back. They weren't thinking this is Balaram come back, but they understood. They had the feeling. And everybody was totally in ecstasy. And he just lived with the cowherd boys that said he was drinking only milk. He said, I've traveled everywhere. I've been to every holy place, and I never could find Krishna. All I could find was the place, but I could never find Krishna. And somebody told him that's because Krishna has gone to Navadvip. And he started the Sankirtan movement. And that's what he was waiting for. He knew, actually at the time of Lord Chaitanya's birth, Nityānanda was 10 or 12 years old. And he just let out a huge cry of ecstasy, and nobody knew why. And he was dancing in ecstasy. So he left for Navadvip. Then, of course, there's so much Leelas in Navadvip. And you might hear them again from someone else, but the more we hear these things, the better they get. Nityānanda. Nitya means eternal, and Ananda means bliss. This is what we all want. When people advertise eternal happiness. And I saw an advertisement for a wedding place in Japan that said, "Ein no Yorokobi." That means, eternal bliss, get married. But that's quite unlikely that even have temporary bliss, but what to speak of eternal bliss, because it's a bodily connection and bodies don't mind. But Nityānanda is eternal, and he's the most merciful. Lord Chaitanya is the most merciful, but Nityānanda is more merciful. And he has a name from a song by Lochandas Thakur, Akroda Paramananda, the eternal bliss who never gets angry. So he is very famous for that. So when he came, Lord Chaitanya had a dream that he came. So he told the devotees the next day, a great personality has come to Navadvip, and you go find him. So the Srivas and Advaita, I think, they went out, they went everywhere. They went to every house, they went everywhere in Navadvip. And they came back and they said, we can't find any great person, can't find anyone. And Lord Chaitanya said, you don't know how to find a great person. So he took him immediately to the house of Sri Nandanandana. If you've been to Mayapur, it's the next temple when we go out from Mayapur Chandrodaya Mandir. Take a right, it's the next temple, Sri Nandanandana. It's a nice temple now. That's where Nityānanda was staying. Nobody knew, only Sri Nandananda knew he was there. But Lord Chaitanya went right there, right to where he was, and found him immediately. And then that was even more ecstatic than his meeting with Madhavendra Puri. And again, all the devotees were just stunned watching this Krishna Prema manifesting so intensely. Gora, Nitai, Gora, and then falling on the ground unconscious for a few hours, getting up and jumping and dancing. Went on for a long time. I can't remember exactly if it even was a couple of days, but. And then Lord Chaitanya arranged a Vyas Puja for Nityānanda. It was a Vyas Puja Day, Guru Purnima. And Nityānanda at that time was Avadhuta. He sometimes was sannyasi dressed, sometimes brahmachari, sometimes naked. He didn't have an ashram exactly. He never officially took sannyas. Some say that he did, and then he got married. And he acted like a sannyasi. He carried a danda because sometimes the brahmacharya system is sannyasi, they have a danda. But anyway, he's avadhuta. Avadhuta means no consideration of, ordinary social behavior, following anything like that. Just Nityānanda avadhuta. And then he went to stay. He said, they asked him, where do you want to have this Vyas Puja? He said, this Brahman's house. And he pointed to Srivas. And Srivas, we know he's Narada Muni. And he had also, Advaita was doing the puja of Shalagram to call Lord Chaitanya. And Srivas and Haridas, they were praying for Krishna to come. So they did the Vyas Puja, and then he stayed at the house of Srivas Pandit. And there he acted like a child. Srivas is old. He's the age of Lord Chaitanya's parents, quite old. And his wife is quite old. But Nityānanda would act like a baby. And she would have to feed him, like putting the food in his mouth. And then there's unlimited pastimes in that house, which, we can't cover all of them in a short time. But he had very close, pastimes with Malini, the wife of Srivas. Sometimes even he would take her breast milk, even though she's an old lady, it would come. So one time a crow came, and there was a puja paraphernalia of Srivas and an Achman cup or something, and this crow picked it up and flew away. And Malini was really getting upset because Srivas would sometimes get angry, and he would be angry that this was missing. And Nityānanda, said, what's the matter? And he said, no problem. And he just said, crow, come back here, bring that thing back. And the crow came back and left it, and flew away again. Many things, she was feeding him all kinds of sweets, and he just threw them all over the house like a child. And then she was upset, and all of a sudden they were back on the plate. So, and he would act, quite, sometimes get completely naked, and Lord Chaitanya would come and chastise him. He'd say, what do I do wrong? What's wrong? Why are you saying that I'm doing something wrong? And then Lord Chaitanya would take his own turban or something and try to get him dressed again. So they had this exchanges. So it's inconceivable. There were many people, like the brother of Krishnadas Kaviraj. He was very devoted to both Lord Chaitanya and Lord Nityānanda, but his brother, he couldn't accept that Nityānanda was the Supreme Lord. He could accept Lord Chaitanya, but he just couldn't cope with Lord Nityānanda's, behavior. So he would argue, we would have a lot of arguments with Krishnadas Kaviraj about that. And it was very frustrating. And he was disrespectful to some very great devotees. He was disrespectful to Lord Nityānanda. I don't think he met him like that, but he would speak bad. So Krishnadas was not happy. And then Nityānanda came in a dream. He came like looking like a cowherd boy, but dark complexion. He said, "They go to Vrindavan, and everything will be all right." So Krishnadas Kaviraj immediately left for Vrindavan. See what kind of people these were. He just took that order of Nityānanda and went to Vrindavan, and we know the rest of the story. You know, he ended up hearing all the pastimes of Lord Chaitanya from Raghunath Goswami. And then he wrote the Chaitanya Charitamrita. So he went there on the order of Nityānanda, and Nityānanda was helping to arrange. So Nityānanda, then when they started the all-night kirtans at Shiva's house, of course, Lord Gaur Nitai would dance and leap in the air, sometimes floating in the air. Their feet would be above the heads of the other devotees. They would do that. I haven't seen devotees for a long time. Long ago, devotees used to dance and try to touch the other devotee's foot, and they'd be going. They would do like that, and they were both so fast, the other one could never touch the other one's feet. Lord Chaitanya would sometimes fall over backwards in ecstasy. Nityānanda would dance right behind him and catch him, you know, when he fell backwards, he wouldn't get hurt. And then all the time in Navadvip, they were going together for Harinam Sankirtan every day. Udilo Aruna Pura Babaji. As soon as the sun came up in the east, they would go out, start dancing and chanting. It's a very nice time to do that. We did that once in Nigeria at a youth festival, and we started in the dark and got in the market just when people were setting up, and everybody was really happy. They did every day, and he and Lord Chaitanya would do. So I don't know how much time you want now. Is more than 30 minutes. It's unlimited, you know. This isn't exactly youth, and youth is not mentioned so much. The childhood is mentioned quite a bit, and then but he's still a young man at this point, but maybe 30 years old. He was in Vrindavan, and all we have, you know, after he came back to Vrindavan after traveling, not a lot of details, just that he was living with the cowherd boys, and just was a cowherd boy. He was in his Balaram mood. One nice one was Lord Chaitanya and Nityānanda. They were traveling to Shantipur to visit Advaita. So somewhere along the way, they were in one village, and the people said, "There's one sannyasi here." They said, "A grihasta sannyasi, and you should visit him." And so Lord Nityānanda, or Lord Chaitanya and Nityānanda, being like unlimitedly merciful, they visited this guy, you know. So it's what do they call it, an oxymoron? That he's a grihasta sannyasi. He actually belonged to a very degraded cult where there's illicit everything was their process. And So they went and they were talking, and he offered them some, they even ate fruit. He was so merciful, this most degraded person. And this guy kept saying, would you like some Ananda? Now before that, when he liked Lord Chaitanya was young, and he offered him benediction. He said, I bless you that you'll always have, unlimited material enjoyment, and you'll have happy family life, and, you'll be rich. And Lord Chaitanya, no, why are you cursing me? Why don't you give me Krishna Prema? And he was thinking, this young boy doesn't understand. Maybe he's become polluted by this Avadhuta that's with him, this Nityānanda. But he was offering, do you want Ananda? And Nityānanda kept saying no. And then Lord Chaitanya said, what does he mean? Ananda. He said, that means the wine. So when they heard that, they just left. And they ran to the Ganga, and they jumped in the Ganga and swam all the way to Shantipur to get purified from association. But meanwhile, they purified that degraded personality. So I don't know how, I see Damodara is putting up some kind of message about
Hare
the
Krishna
time.
Maharaj, we have about 5 to 7 minutes remaining.
Okay. So there's many pastimes at Advaita's house with Nityānanda and Lord Chaitanya. And his whole life goes on, but specifically mine said the youth, I don't know how much, there's certain ones that I especially like that are later on. He would come to Puri every year with the devotees. One year Lord Chaitanya told him, don't come anymore. You're the only one that can preach in Bengal. It's so degraded. So he told him, take some devotees, and he went back to Bengal. But he came anyway back to Puri, for the Rath Yatra. And Lord Chaitanya was actually really happy, but he acted like he was not happy. And he got married, and then he lived very opulently. He lived more like not like a crazy Avadhuta anymore. He was like very rich, very opulent dress, rings on every finger, it said, and necklaces and earrings and ankle bracelets and everything, jewels and gold and diamonds. And he married 2 sisters. The marriage was with Janava, the first one, and somehow he wanted to marry her, and the father also, of course, wanted. But when Lord Nityānanda came and asked him, I'd like to marry your daughter, he declined first. He was thinking, we don't know your, we don't know your background, we don't know your gotra, and we have to follow. And he just became bewildered about trying to follow all these varnashram rules. So Nityānanda and Jhanavi had been hearing this, and was in ecstasy that Nityānanda wanted to marry her. And so the father sent him away, and he was like acting unhappy. And Janava fell unconscious, and nobody could knew. And they thought, she was attacked by some kind of disease, and nobody knew what happened. The doctors couldn't do anything. Finally, somebody said, you must have offended a saintly person. And then he realized, what just didn't make any sense. But so he sent people out, they found Nityānanda and they brought him back. And then arranged the marriage, and then Janava came back to life. And then at some point, Nityānanda said, I want to marry your other daughter also, Vasudha. So he married the two sisters. It was a really opulent wedding. A long description of the wedding. Maybe Srivas knows more about that. But then anyway, the later one was, he was traveling in one village, and this village was a gang of thieves. And the chief of the thief, he was a Brahmin by birth. But they were Shakti worshippers, they were worshiping Durga. And they heard this rumor that this very opulent person was visiting there. And there was so many jewels, and they got all excited. And he sent a spy to look. So he came back and he said, yeah, they're eating now. And this visitor, and he has so many rings. He was describing all the necklaces and the jewels on his head and the rings, and all the thieves started claiming what they were going to take. And they all got really excited. So the leader said, we'll wait, until they're all sleeping. Now is eating, you can't sneak. So they all went to sleep, but they didn't wake up and until sunrise. And they all started blaming the other one. You fell asleep first. You should have stayed awake. What's wrong with you? And the leader, he said, don't worry, tonight we'll go. So that night they went. And they got to the house, but outside the house were giant guards with giant swords. And they were bewildered. They said they weren't there yesterday. I don't know what happened. And the leader thought, must be another guest is there. And he's got these guards, so we'll wait till tonight, the next night. So the reason what went wrong is we got too excited and we forgot to do the Durga Puja for success. So tonight we'll get it right. So they did the Durga Puja, they waited till midnight, and they went sneaking. But on the way there, a huge storm came, flooding rain, lightning, thunder, and all these thieves went blind. All of a sudden they were blind, and they were slipping in the mud, and they were all falling in the ditch, getting bitten by all kinds of insects, and they suffered like anything all night. The sun came up, and somehow they got their sight back, and they went back home again. And so the leader, he was really confused because they'd done the first class puja for Durga and never failed before. They were very successful thieves. So he prayed, what happened? Mataji, what happened? She came and told him, you stupid, this is the Supreme Personality of Godhead and you're trying to rob him, you're a fool, he's my master. I can't help you. You should go and surrender. So he went in a humble state of mind. He went to Lord Nityānanda and he bowed down. And he was crying and apologizing and saying, I was a fool. I was trying to steal all your jewelry and, I'm a rascal. And Lord Nityānanda, of course, immediately forgave him. That's his nature. But the thief and all his followers, they all became great devotees. So that's Nityānanda. He dealt with, Lord Chaitanya dealt with people like Sarvabhauma Bhattacharya and Rupa and Sanatana. And Nityānanda dealt with the thieves and rogues and all kinds of people. He made them all devotees. And he's saving all of us. So we take shelter of Nityānanda. How do we do that? We go out, just like he did. He went every day door to door, asking everybody to chant the holy name, along with Haridas Thakur. So that's a whole nother, series of events. So thank you very much for this opportunity, and call me anytime. Pray that I can make it. Last time I had my ticket and got waylaid to go to Ghana and Africa, but I'm planning to go right after the Gorpanima festival. So please pray that if you want me to come, I can make it. And you have all those books. Get everybody distribute some books and give your scores. All right. This is how to get the mercy of Lord Nityānanda. Thank you very much. I'm here in Haifa, Israel, and devotees we're going to go for Harinam. Saturday is Sunday. Saturday is the Sabbath day. Thank you very much. Dear Damodara Maharaj ki jai.
Hare Krishna, Holy Krishna Maharaj ki jai. Thank you very much for the wonderful narration. Yeah,
Brazil.
presence.
Brazil. All glories to Brazil. And
No, I'm in Lagos. I'm in Lagos. I left Brazil last year. I'm in Lagos.
Devotees are on this thing from everywhere. There's 50 devotees there. It's very good. All right. Nityānanda ki jai. Vande Shri Krishna Nityānanda Sahodito. They came together like the sun and the moon at the same time to dissipate the dense darkness of the Kali Yuga. Hare Krishna, Krishna Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama. I recommend everyone, if you go to Mayapur, go to Ekachakra. The devotees have built a beautiful temple there, and they have dioramas of all of Nityānanda's pastimes in that temple. A beautiful place. Nityānanda Mahaprabhu ki jai.
Thank you very much, Maharaj, for sharing those wonderful pastimes, Lord Nityānanda Prabhu. And I'm sure that we're all very much enlightened with those words. We could just never get enough of the lovely leelas of Nityānanda Prabhu. And with that, Maharaj, please allow me to proceed to the next part of the program.
Going into the pastimes, get out on Harinam, distribute books. Haribol.
Hare Krishna, Maharaj.
Bye-bye.
And now, dear devotees, we have a very lovely showcase for all of you up next. Our very young devotees from Nigeria have put up the following video for us, for all of us to enjoy. We present to you the Nigeria Yatra.
Hare Krishna, my name is Lakshmi. I'm from Bhakti Academy, Lagos, Nigeria. Jai Karuna Have, Raja Radha Krishna Pave. If you want the love of Krishna and Radha, you need the mercy of Lord Nityānanda. Nityānanda Ram ki jai.
Hare Krishna, my name is Vaishnavi Devidasi. I am from Bhakti Academy, Lagos, Nigeria. I worship Lord Nityānanda, the unlimited root of the tree of devotional science. He appears like a bright moon, very wonderful and free of taints, maddened with pure love for Lord Hari. His eyes are constantly rolling and he is as graceful as an elephant. He is the absolute truth with a smiling face. He dispels in influx of
Krishna. My name is Shah from Bhakti Academy in Lagos, Nigeria. Name Nityānanda, Nityānanda. Your name is Nityānanda. Your form is Nityānanda. Nitya means eternal. Ananda means bliss. You are blissful and eternal. You are Nityānanda Ram because you are Lord Balaram. Nityānanda Ram ki jai.
Jai, that was absolutely wonderful. A very big thank you to these lovely young devotees from Nigeria for sharing with us that beautiful video. And on the video, we had Bhakti Lakshmi, Bhakti Vaishnavi Devidasi, and the very little cute Bhakti Shyam. And now, dear devotees, we have a very and an extremely exciting activity ahead of us. For those of you who were here with us yesterday, know how we're doing it this time round. This time round, we're actually playing it a little bit different. we thought of making it a little more interesting by making it a slight bit visual. We will be participating in a quiz now, which will be visual. In this, there will be a video which is played of a pastime of Lord Nityānanda by devotees from Nigeria, after which you will be required to guess the correct pastime which is being acted out. And with that, a pop-up of the answering poll will appear on your screens for you to select the correct answer. And now we have the first quiz, the first question, in which we are identifying the childhood pastime of Sri Nityānanda Prabhu from the video. Wow. So now we will be identifying the childhood pastime of Sri Nityānanda Prabhu from this video. We have four options. A, is it Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu coming to take him to pilgrimages? Option B, a sannyasi begging to have Sri Nityānanda as his assistants from the parents. Option C, Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu offering benediction to Sri Nityānanda's parents. And option D, Sri Nityānanda's parents offending the sannyasi by not feeding him properly. Now, we must identify the correct pastime of Lord Nityānanda from this video. And with that, we will get the opportunity to answer this question in a few seconds, where a pop-up is going to appear. And yes, here the pop-up has appeared. We have less than 10 seconds to answer this question. We need to identify the correct answer. Which was the pastime which was being portrayed in the video? Which of the pastime was in regard to Sri Nityānanda Prabhu? And with that, we have the poll has just ended actually. And the correct answer to that pastime is option number B, a sannyasi begging to have Sri Nityānanda as his assistant from the parents. That is the correct answer. And we will now have some detail in regard to this pastime. When Sri Nityānanda Prabhu was growing up, a sannyasi came to the house of Hadai Pandit and begged to have the Pandit's son as his brahmachari assistant. Hadai Pandit immediately agreed and delivered his son to him. Although the the separation was greatly shocking, so much so that Hadai lost his life after the separation. Nityānanda Prabhu traveled on many pilgrimages with the sannyasi, Sri Chaitanya Charitamrita, Adi Leela. And with that, that was our first question, our first part of the quiz. We now move on to the second question, where we're identifying the pastime of Sri Nityānanda Prabhu from this video. Let's take a look now. Wow, that was again a very beautifully done act of a pastime. We're identifying the pastime of Sri Nityānanda Prabhu and Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu from that very video. We have the following 4 options. Option A, Sri Nityānanda Prabhu is ecstatic to receive the sannyas danda of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. Option B, Sri Nityānanda Prabhu dancing in separation from Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. Option C, Sri Nityānanda Prabhu breaks the sannyas danda of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu and throws it into the river. And option D, the last option, Sri Nityānanda Prabhu doing ecstatic dance, traveling with Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. And once again, we need to identify the correct pastime. The poll is right on our screens. We have less than 15 seconds to identify the correct answer in regards to the act which was just portrayed of the pastime of Sri Nityānanda Prabhu. Yes, I can see very many of us have actually engaged. And with that, our poll has actually just ended. And we will now give the answer to that particular pastime. And the correct answer to that is option number C, where Sri Nityānanda Prabhu breaks the sannyas danda of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu and throws it into the river. That is the correct answer from the 4 options. Some detail in regard to the pastime. When Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu arrived at Kamalapur, he took his bath in the Barginadi river and left his sannyas stuff in the hands of Lord Nityānanda. When Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu went to the temple of Lord Shiva, known as Kapotesvara, Nityānanda Prabhu, who was keeping his sannyas stuff in custody, broke the stuff in 3 parts and threw it into river Barginadi. Later, the river became known as Dandabhanga Nadi. In the sannyas order, there are 4 divisions: Kotichaka, Bahudaka, Hamsa, and Paramahamsa. Only when the sannyas remains on the Kotichaka and Bahudaka platforms can he carry a staff. However, when one is elevated to the status of Hamsa or Paramahamsa, after touring the preaching, the Bhakti cult, he must give up the sannyas stuff. Lord Nityānanda Prabhu did not wait for the Paramahamsa stage. He reasoned that the Supreme Personality of Godhead is automatically on the Paramahamsa stage. Therefore, he does not need to carry the sannyas danda. From Chaitanya Charitamrita, Madhya Leela. And with that, thank you, dear devotees, for participating in our visual quiz. I hope you all enjoyed, and we will have the quiz results at the end of this session. And now it is finally time for me to introduce and welcome our second speaker for the session. Before I do so, please note that there will be a panelist request which will pop up on your screens to take you to the panel section, panel portal. This will only make it easier for you to engage and make it very active for you to engage in this webinar. For those of you who have just joined us, please note that we have language interpretation channels in both Portuguese and Hindi language. Kindly click on the globe icon at the bottom of your screen so that you will be assisted on that as well. And in case of any questions, before I introduce the next speaker, kindly you could drop in your questions on the chat box, which is Ask Your Servant. And now it is finally time for me to introduce and welcome our second speaker for the session, His Grace Srivas Vanachari Prabhu, who will be speaking on the topic Antya Leela Pastimes of Lord Nityānanda. His Grace Srivas Vanachari Prabhu joined ISKCON in Africa in 1981 and got initiated in 1983. He served as temple president in different temples of Nigeria and Ghana. He also served as a BBT manager and the regional secretary. He teaches the Bhakti Shastri course and Bhakti Vaibhav course at the Mayapur Institute. At present, he serves ISKCON as the regional secretary for West Africa, GBC deputy, member of TASE, which is a task for assessment of sannyas candidates, sannyas ministry, executive member Sustainable Vaishnava, community development SVC, zonal supervisor for West Africa, and the global duty officer. He is West Africa's first Grihastha Guru. And with that, I'd now like to invite His Grace Chitraketu Putradas from Ghana to welcome His Grace Srivas Vanachari Prabhu with a garland. Chitraketu Putra Prabhu, you're muted. Maybe you would want to unmute. Wonderful.
Yes. Krishna Maharaj, please accept this garland on behalf of our dear Gurudev, His Holiness Bhakti Dhira Damodara Maharaj, and all assembled devotees. Hare Krishna Maharaj.
Hare Krishna. Thank you very much, Prabhu. And with that, Your Grace Srivas Vanachari Prabhu, kindly enlighten us with some nectar.
Amajnanatimredasya Jnananjanashalakaya Chakshuramalitam Yena Tasmai Sri Gurave Namaha. Sri Chaitanya Manobhistam Stapitam Yena Bhutale Swayam Rupa Kadamahyam Dadati Swapadantikam. Vande Sri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityānanda Sri Advaita Gadadhara Srivasadi Gaura Bhakta Vrinda. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Bhagam karoti vachalam pankam lagayate grim yat kripatamahan vande Shri Guru Dinataranam Paramanam Madhavam Sri Chaitanya Ishwaram Akanda Mandalakaram Vyapta Yena Characharam Tapadam Dashitam Yena Tasmai Sri Gurave Namaha. So first of all, I want to say thank you very much for inviting us to this celebration of Lord Nityānanda's appearance. Thank you, Bhakti Dhira Damodara Maharaj, for organizing such a beautiful program to glorify Lord Nityānanda. We all know that without the mercy of Lord Nityānanda, we will not be here. So to speak about Lord Nityānanda is to speak about and to hear about is purifying for all conditioned souls. And therefore, this is an opportunity to enhance our spiritual life. So thank you for the invitation. And we want to speak something about Lord Nityānanda. But before we do that, we have to offer some prayer. Vande Sri Chaitanya Nityānanda Sahodito Godadaye Pushpavanto Chitra Sando Tamonando Nityānanda Vatutendor Vasuda Pranavalabaha Janavir Jivita Patir Krishna Prema Prabhu Padmavati Sutta Srimam Sachirananda Purvajaha Bhavam Mata Jagatrakta Rakta Gaur Gelevaraha. So, Lord Nityānanda, as we all know, is the second half of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. It is said that Mahaprabhu's Sankirtan party was incomplete without Lord Nityānanda. Lord Nityānanda came to Navadvip after touring all the holy places in India. And then he came to join Lord Chaitanya in their pastimes of distributing the holy names of Krishna. It is mentioned that in the Adilila, how Lord Nityānanda is not different from Balaram, and how Sankrishan, Mahavishnu, Garbhodakashaya Vishnu, and Shuddhakashaya Vishnu are all expansions of Lord Nityānanda. Just as Lord Krishna expands into Balaram, and Balaram expands into the Chaturvyuha, similarly, Lord Nityānanda, he is a direct expansion of Lord Nityānanda, the direct expansion of Lord Chaitanya. And therefore, his arrival in Navadvip made the Sankirtan party complete. And it is described how when Lord Nityānanda met Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, the preaching became very enthusiastic. The preaching became very ecstatic. And on a daily basis, Lord Nityānanda will go out on Harinam. And Lord Chaitanya was very happy in his association, and he ordered Lord Nityānanda and Haridas to go from house to house to distribute the holy names of Krishna. Lord Chaitanya's mission is to distribute the love of God. Vande Sri Krishna Chaitanya, Krishna Bhava Mitahiyaha, Aswadyan Swadhyayam, Bhaktam Premadiksham Ashikshayat. Lord Chaitanya's mission was to distribute the holy names to everyone. His mission was to liberate the whole world by distributing Krishna, love of Krishna throughout the world. And he descended in this world with his associates to do that. And his principal associate was Lord Nityānanda. So even though Lord Chaitanya had already started performing his Harinam Sankirtan in Navadvip, but the party became more ecstatic, the distribution became more heightened, and the pastime of performing Sankirtan became more ecstatic when Lord Nityānanda arrived in Navadvip. And so on a daily basis, Lord Nityānanda will go out with other devotees like Haridas, and they would go from house to house, quarter to quarter, place to place, asking everyone to chant the holy names of the Lord. In fact, it is said that Lord Nityānanda was like an intoxicated madman. He was always intoxicated with the holy names, and he was always eager to give everybody the holy names of Krishna. Sometimes he would jump into the Ganga and ride on crocodiles and ask the crocodiles to chant Hare Krishna. Sometimes when he sees some wild bulls, he will jump on the back of the bulls and he will ask the bulls to chant Hare Krishna. So in this way, Lord Nityānanda was not only preaching to human beings, but Lord Nityānanda was also eager to distribute love of God even among wild animals. Sometimes tigers relaxing on the way, Lord Nityānanda will hold their tail, pull them, and order them to chant Hare Krishna. So we can see that the Mahaprabhu's mission of spreading the holy names was boosted by the presence of Lord Nityānanda. Therefore, Kaviraj Das Goswami says, he prays, Maya Titi Vyapti Vaikuntha Loke, Purna Ishwari Sri Chatu Vyuhamadye, Rupam Yashobati Sankrashakyam, Tam Sri Nityānanda Ramam Prapade. I surrender unto the lotus feet of Sri Nityānanda Ram, who is known as Sankrashan in the midst of the Chatuvyuha. He possesses full uplands, and he resides in Vaikuntha, far beyond the material sky. So Lord Nityānanda plays such an important role in spreading Krishna consciousness. When Lord Chaitanya desired to take sannyas, the very first person he informed about his desire was Lord Nityānanda. He called Lord Nityānanda aside and revealed to him how he felt there was a need for him to accept the sannyas order in order to spread the holy names of Krishna. Though Lord Nityānanda wasn't happy with that idea, but he could not stop Lord Chaitanya from taking sannyas. And when Lord Chaitanya took sannyas in Katwa, Lord Nityānanda was with him. And after the sannyas ceremony, Lord Chaitanya told Nityānanda his desire was to go to Vrindavan. Actually, all of Mahaprabhu's life, his desire is to meet Krishna. His desire is to go to Vrindavan and meet Lord Krishna. But Lord Nityānanda wanted the devotees in Navadvip to at least see Lord Chaitanya one more time before he will leave the presence of Mayapur. So Lord Nityānanda sent Chandrasekhar to go and inform the devotees in Mayapur, including Madhasachi, that they should all meet in Shantipur, in Advaita Acharya's home. That Lord Chaitanya had accepted the sannyas order and was ready to go to Vrindavan, but he was bringing him to Shantipur so that they can have his last association. So Chandrasekhar went ahead to inform the devotees about the development. Meanwhile, Lord Nityānanda had taken a boat and put Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu into the boat. And then also he has sent somebody to Shantipur to inform Advaita Acharya to come with some fresh clothes for Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. So when the boat arrived in Shantipur and Lord Chaitanya saw Advaita Acharya, he was surprised. So he asked Advaita Acharya, "Oh, are you in Vrindavan?" Because he was thinking he was going to Vrindavan. And when he saw himself in the boat on the Ganga, he was thinking that was Yamuna. So when he saw Advaita Acharya in Shantipur with fresh clothes, he was surprised. He said, "Oh, Advaita Acharya, are you in Vrindavan?" And then Advaita Acharya said, "Yes, wherever you are, that is Vrindavan. Wherever you are, my dear Lord, that is Vrindavan. So once you are here, this is Vrindavan." Then it was then that Lord Chaitanya realized that Lord Nityānanda had brought him to Shantipur. And as they were waiting, soon all the devotees from Mayapur, from Navadvip, including Madhasachi, they arrived in Shantipur. So Lord Nityānanda was feeling great concern for the devotees in Mayapur, that if they did not see their sweet Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu before he left Mayapur, they may not get a chance to see him again. So in this way, we can see the great compassion that Lord Nityānanda has for the devotees in Mayapur. There are other pastimes, like when Lord Nityānanda used to go with the devotees. When Lord Nityānanda actually went with Chaitanya Mahaprabhu to Puri, Lord Chaitanya sent him back Bengal to preach, because he was in Puri and he could not come back to Bengal. As a sannyasi, he could not visit his village or his place of birth again for some time. So, but he did not want the preaching in Bengal to die off because he had left Bengal. So he sent Nityānanda Prabhu back to Bengal to continue with the preaching. So every year the devotees from Bengal would come to Puri and participate in the Ratha Yatra festival. So on one occasion, Lord Nityānanda was with the devotees when they were coming to Puri. And Shivananda Sena was always the leader of the team. He was a well-to-do householder, so he would pay the expenses for all the traveling, the food, the accommodation, and even sometimes he has to bribe government officers on the way to allow them to pass. So it is said that on one of those occasions, Shivananda Sena was delayed in trying to negotiate passage for all the devotees to go to Puri. Because of that, food, prasadam, was delayed. Devotees did not eat in time. And Lord Nityānanda was very angry with Shivananda Sena. And so he was so angry that when Shivananda Sena returned, Lord Nityānanda was so angry that he kicked Shivananda Sena in the head and cursed him that all his children will die. When Shivananda Sena's wife heard this curse, she began to cry. What kind of saintly person is this, cursing all my children to die? But Shivananda Sena was so happy that he had received the mercy of Lord Nityānanda. Getting the kick from Lord Nityānanda was a great blessing for an exalted Vaishnava like Shivananda Sena. So he was in ecstasy that Lord Nityānanda had extended his unlimited mercy to him. So Shivananda Sena told his wife that whatever Lord Nityānanda says is a blessing. Whatever Lord Nityānanda does is a blessing. Actually, he has apologized to Lord Nityānanda for fasting him, for not giving him food in time. But at the same time, whatever Lord Nityānanda desires, it should be accepted as a blessing. So even if Lord Nityānanda had cursed his family all to die, he should consider that as a blessing. One other pastime is, it is said that when Lord Chaitanya asked Nityānanda to go to preach in Bengal, Lord Nityānanda established his base in Kandahar. And there Lord Nityānanda engaged in kirtan, what we call 24-hour kirtan. Lord Nityānanda engaged in 1 month kirtan. Everybody in that village, even including old men, children, invalids, everybody tasted the nectar of Krishna consciousness. It is said that Lord Nityānanda, he enacted that kirtan for a whole month. And in that whole month, nobody ate anything, nobody drank anything, nobody slept, and nobody bothered about anything. They were simply dancing and dancing and dancing. And even little children were absorbed in the dancing, that they would dance and climb trees to the top. They would dance on branches and they would not fall. So in this way, Lord Nityānanda displayed unlimited mercy for the people of Kandahar. And Lord Nityānanda, he constantly traveled everywhere, inducing people to chant the holy names of Krishna. Lord Nityānanda, his only activity was Harinam Sankirtan. His only pleasure was to see people chant the holy names of Krishna. He had no other activity except chanting the holy names, inducing people to chant the holy names. And so in this way, Lord Nityānanda spread the holy names of Krishna throughout Bengal. In fact, the Sankirtan movement in Bengal was spread by Lord Nityānanda and his 12 Gopala boys. He has some 12 Gopalas that are considered the cowhead boys from Vrindavan who participated in the pastimes of Lord Balaram. And so they assisted Lord Nityānanda in his Sankirtan movement, in his spreading of the holy names. And in this way, Lord Nityānanda went everywhere and distributed the holy names profusely. I think one more pastime I would like to narrate is also his encounter with the thieves. One time, Lord Nityānanda came back to Bengal, he came back to Navadvip, and he was sleeping, he was resting in the house of one Brahmana. And then there were some, because Lord Nityānanda used to dress very opulently. He used to dress with rubies, with emeralds, with all kinds of different precious stones. There will be anklets on his feet, anklets on his hands, different decorations on his body. So there were these thieves who saw Lord Nityānanda with all this, and they felt if they could rob Lord Nityānanda, then all their desires will be fulfilled. So they planned how to rob Lord Nityānanda. Of course, it is mentioned that they tried for a number of days, but they were always unsuccessful. Because the first day they went, they saw some huge personalities parading the whole compound where Lord Nityānanda was staying. So they waited and waited, and those bodyguards, security guards, were so tall and huge that one of them could finish all the thieves. So they were scared and going to rob Lord Nityānanda. Then the second day they tried, but they overslept and they could not wake up to rob Lord Nityānanda. The third day, Indra, there was a heavy downpour, and there was severe cold and severe winds, and in the end they fell into pits full of stool and urine and so many things that they realized that Lord Nityānanda cannot be robbed. They realized he's the Supreme Personality of Godhead, and so these thieves, they had to go and surrender to Lord Nityānanda. And in this way, these thieves received the mercy of Lord Nityānanda. So Lord Nityānanda, his mercy is for everybody. He does not discriminate, qualified or unqualified. Anybody who comes to Lord Nityānanda does not go without getting some mercy. Even 𝐤𝐢𝐳 and Madai, who were considered the most sinful people in Navadvip, they got the mercy of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu through the agency of Lord Nityānanda. So Lord Nityānanda, even when he was wounded by 𝐤𝐳 and Madai, he did not take any offense. He was in ecstasy. He was so mercifully disposed towards these 𝐤𝐳 and Madai, that when Lord Chaitanya came to cut off their heads with the Sudarsana chakra, Lord Nityānanda begged and reminded Lord Chaitanya that in this age, everybody is like 𝐤𝐳 and Madai. And if he wants to cut off their heads, then he could equally kill everybody in this world. But actually, that was not their mission. Their mission was to kill their demonic minds. Their mission was to purify their contaminated hearts. Their mission was to give them love of Godhead, make them intoxicated and dance in ecstasy. That was their mission, and not the mission of killing the bodies. So in this way, we can see the Lord Nityānanda is mercy incarnation. Without the mercy of Lord Nityānanda, we will not be sitting here today. It is only by the mercy of Lord Nityānanda that we have all come on board of this sacred mission of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. And that is why Sarvabhauma Bhattacharya glorifies Lord Nityānanda. Nityananda's what is the prayer? Lord Nityānanda is always intoxicated with the holy names, and Lord Nityānanda is always mercifully inclined towards delivering all conditioned souls in this material world. So on this very auspicious day of the appearance of Lord Nityānanda, or this auspicious moment of speaking about the glories of Lord Nityānanda, we simply pray that Lord Nityānanda may extend his mercy to all of us and give us that opportunity to taste the nectarian holy names that he has descended in this world to distribute. And on this note, I will say thank you again for giving us the opportunity to say a few words about Lord Nityānanda, and we look forward to the next event. Thank you, and Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna, Prabhu. Thank you very much. Thank you for those wonderful glories of Nityānanda Prabhu. Thank you for enlightening us with more and more pastimes of Lord Nityānanda. And also, I'd like to take this opportunity to thank you yourself for taking time off your busy schedule to be here with us today and to celebrate the forthcoming festival of Nityānanda Trayodaśī. Thank you very much, Prabhu.
Hare Krishna. Thank you, Maharaj, for organizing this beautiful program.
Hare Krishna, Prabhu. Thank you for the nectar.
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
And now, as we draw closer to the end of today's program, it is my humble honor to invite His Holiness Bhakti Dhira Damodara Swami to lead a prayer session for light, love, and peace in the world with some lovely kirtan. And I also humbly request all the devotees who are present here to kindly participate in the kirtan led by Srila Gurudev. Hare Krishna.
Next.
We would like to dedicate the kirtan to His Holiness Dr. 𝐶𝐸𝐵 Maharaj, who is presently undergoing some treatment. He's a very rare soul who has helped to push Krishna consciousness vigorously all over the world. We appreciate his wonderful contribution. Therefore, we offer this kirtan to His lotus feet, always begging for His blessings so that we can continue whatever He has established. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Krishna, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare Rama, Hare Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Rama Rama, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Rama, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama. Rama Rama Hare Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna,
Thank you very much, Maharaj, for leading us through that ecstatic kirtan. We pray to the most merciful Lord Nityānanda for the quick recovery of His Holiness Gopal Krishna Maharaj. And with that, we shall now take a plunge into the island of Mauritius, where we will have a beautiful drama which has been prepared to us by the devotees of Mauritius, and we hope you enjoy it.
Oh Krishna, I am discouraged. The book's distribution is very slow. Oh Gauranitai, oh Srila Prabhupada, please make some arrangement so that these books goes in the hands of people and changes their lives. Hare Krishna, may I have 1 minute? Please? I have some books I would like to show you.
Listen. I already have some tension. I just lost my job. Can you just leave me alone, please?
Sorry to hear that. Just 1 minute. Actually, we all have problems.
No.
And these are the...
No, I'm not ready to listen to you. Just leave me alone, please.
Madam, 1 minute, please.
Just go away.
No. Listen, we need neither you nor your books. We don't need God here. We are happy without God, okay? So just go away. Oh Krishna, I know this lady is angry at me, but she's suffering. And these books are the solution to all her problems. It reminds me of the pastime of 𝐤𝐢𝐬𝐬 and how Lord Nityānanda extended his mercy upon these souls. I think I should try again. Oh Gurudev, you always tell us to be paradukadukhi, to go out of our comfort zone and to go preach. Please bless me, please give me the strength. I will go again and I will give it a try.
Yes? What now? Listen, it's not easy for us. We just want to have a chill. We are already stressed out and right now we are going to have a beer and feel high. So leave us alone.
What if I tell you I know how to get high forever?
High?
Yes.
That's interesting. Now I want to listen more about it.
There's a mantra.
Please get in. So you were saying?
Yes, I was telling you about the Maha Mantra, the king of all mantra. It is the Hare Krishna. It is as follows. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. When you chant this mantra, you will get unending happiness and bliss. And many people have tried it all over the world and their lives change. You will have, yes. If you want to know more about this specific mantra, you have all in these books. They give you all details that you need. I have lots of books with me and there are more in my bag. They are life-changing books. Just have a look. So, yeah. And you know, Mataji, you were telling me, I'm sorry about what you had a tough day today. Actually, in the Bhagavad Gita, it says that happiness and distress come like summer and winter, and we need to learn how to tolerate it. But you want to know how to stay high forever. So there's a special mantra, the Maha Mantra. Everything is written in this book. Just read.
This is really nice.
Who is this person?
This is Sri Nityānanda Prabhu. Let me tell you all about him. In the age of 𝐾𝐻𝐿, Lord Krishna advanced in this material world as Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu along with Balaram, appearing as Lord Nityānanda. He is donned the role of Lord Chaitanya, principal associate for spreading the chanting of the holy names of Lord Krishna in the form of Harinam Sankirtan. He distributed the mercy of Lord Krishna to all the fallen, materially conditioned souls of this age by congregational chanting of the Lord's holy name. According to the teaching of the Acharyas, Chaitanya Mahaprabhu cannot be approached or understood without taking shelter of Nityānanda Prabhu, who is the original Guru of all universes.
Can you just give me all this book? I found it very interesting.
Yeah, I
It
want
brings
all in your
solace to my
bags
heart.
too. This is wow.
Thank you so much. Thank you for changing my life.
Thank you. Wow, I'm so happy I got these books. I'll try to read them. Maybe they are the solutions to my problem. Thank you.
Jai, what a wonderful performance that was. And thank you very much to these wonderful devotees from Mauritius who have managed to put together this beautiful performance. And in this drama, we had Yeshni Roop Narain, Achyuta Pranapriya Devidasi, Rasika Sindhudas, and Palika Devidasi. Thank you very much. And without further ado now, we would like to present to you the winners board for the quiz which we participated in earlier. And the winners for the quiz for today's session are there on our screens. For the first question, Prashant Gorodas, Bhakta Sachin, and Bhaktin Kamini Sinha. And the winners for the second question are Prashanta Gorodas again. How wonderful. Bhakta Ashish Gupta and Bhaktin Leena Tikchandani. Congratulations to all these devotees. And for those of us who have not yet managed to reach on this quiz result scoreboard, do not worry, because we have a wonderful set of questions ready for you tomorrow. And now the devotees, last but not the least. We will have the last item for today's session. And this is a very beautiful bhajan by our wonderful devotees from Ghana. These devotees have lovingly put together this bhajan for the pleasure of Lord Nityānanda. We now present to you our Ghana Yatra with a bhajan.
Jai Jai Shri Nityānanda, Jai Jai Shri Nityānanda. Nityānanda Mahajan Patiyache Namahatra Jivera Karana Shadhavanjan He Shadhavanjan He Shadhavanjan He Shadhavanjan He. Prabhura Agyabai Magiye Bhiksha Bolo Krishna Bhaja Krishna Guru Krishna Shiksha Shradhavanjan He Shradhavanjan Shraddhavanjan hai. Aparadha sunya hoye loho Krishna nam. Krishna Mata, Krishna Pita, Krishna Dhana Pran. Shraddhavanjan hai, Shraddhavanjan hai, Shraddhavanjan hai, Shraddhavanjan hai. Krishnera samsakoro chadiyanachar jivadoya Krishna nam sarvada masa. Shraddhavanjan hai, Shraddhavanjan hai, Shraddhavanjan hai, Shraddhavanjan hai.
O people of faith, O people of faith, by the order of Lord Gauranga, O brothers, I beg these three requests of you. Chant Krishna, worship Krishna, and teach others about Krishna.
Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Jaya Nityānanda Ram, Nityānanda Ram, Nityānanda Ram, Jaya Nityānanda Ram, Prabhupada, 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 Srila Prabhupada.
That's extremely wonderful. What a wonderful bhajan, actually, sung by these lovely devotees. And I can get a glimpse that we wouldn't mind another round of this same bhajan because it has been so beautifully showcased and so lovingly sung. Thank you to all these devotees, Kamal Nath Das, Krishnakanta Devidasi, Sureshwar Das, Manmohan Das, Chaitanya Bhagavat, Guru Gauranga, Isapriya, Chitraketu Putra Das, Gayatri Devidasi, Bhuvanpati Das, Dai Rupa Devidasi, Dharma Atma Das, Sarvajaya Devidasi, Ajanma Das, Harisevani Devidasi, Adbhuta Das, Vishwamurti Das, Iksvaku Das, Tatri Devidasi, Rishikesh Das, all of them from Ghana. Big Hari Bol for all of them. Hari Bol. And now, dear devotees, finally, before we leave, I would like to share with all of you the program for tomorrow, which has been very thoughtfully and lovingly structured for us to enjoy. We will have the session begin with some nectar being shared with us by His Holiness Bhakti Purushottam Swami on the glories of Lord Nityānanda. After that, we will have a special quiz again, which has been wonderfully put together in form of our videos, as we saw today. And then we will have a wonderful, wonderful nectar session by His Holiness Bhakti Dhira Damodara Swami, who will be speaking very importantly on the applications of the teachings of Lord Nityānanda. And finally, to end the webinar, which is the celebration of Nityānanda Trayodaśī, tomorrow we will be having again some drama and some bhajan. And with that, dear devotees, dear Maharaj, we finally come to the end of today's online session. We continue praying to the all-merciful Lord Nityānanda to bestow his causeless mercy onto all of us and to continue engaging us in bhakti forever. And therefore, we look forward to having all of you back tomorrow for our last and final session of this online program. And with that, dear devotees, dear Maharaj, Hare Krishna, and all glories to Srila Prabhupada, and all glories to Srila Gurudev. Hare Krishna.
Oh Krishna, I am discouraged.
Nitai guna maniyama, nitai guna mani. Nitai guna maniyama, nitai guna mani. Aniya primera banya, bashai loya bani. Aniya primera banya, bashai loya bani. Primer banya loya nitai, ai la gora deshe. Primer banya loya nitai, ai la gora deshe. Dubilu bakata gana, dina dina bashe. Dubilu bakata gana, dina dina bashe. Dubilu bakata gana, dina dina bashe. Dubilu bakata Dina hina patitapa, mara nahi bache. Dina hina patitapa, mara nahi bache. Dina hina patitapa, mara nahi bache. Dina hina patitapa, Amara dulama prema, sabakare jache. Amara dulama prema,